right, welcome everyone to another edition of the Focus TV. We're joined by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardo Dudley Jr. I am Wilson Tarpet Jr. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 30. Octavia, I know you're happy. Your segment's finally back. We made it through the quiet times, and now it's time for overreactions. All 30 whatever teams are primed to win the Super Bowl, and fans are going nuts and whatnot. We're going to start with Ray with the Mystics. What have they been up to?
They've been busy the past week, man. They had 3 games since we last saw you guys. They went 1-2. They lost to the Fever, the Liberty, and they beat the Mercury on Sunday. We all know about the injury issues, so they're just doing what they can to try to remain competitive. All things considered, they're third in the East right now, sitting at 12-10. So if they can just continue to tread water till they get healthy, then they can make a push going down the stretch. But even though they're obviously hampered by injuries, I still definitely think they have enough to still be competitive, especially with Tiana Hawkins stepping up, Lee Mung coming off the bench, giving some added offensive firepower to that second unit, and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough has been playing well. So yeah, they're professionals, man. It's really no excuses. They just gotta go out there and hoop. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for them. Other teams dealing with injuries as well, so they gotta make the best of a bad situation and just hold the fort down to their big guns get back. But Sunday they were just dominant, man. The Mercury, they're struggling as well. So it was good to see the Mystics go in there and handle business, especially at home. Just to kind of keep pace. Because Atlanta they're on a bit of a skid, and the Mystics were able to overtake them for third in the East. So yeah, man, it's tough, but it's doable. Natasha Cloud and Brittany Sykes, they've been hooping, man. And I mentioned Tiana Hawkins earlier as well. I think her playing well has been the biggest X factor for them. Even though they've still been up and down since the injuries, but if she wasn't producing the way she's been, then these will probably be some nasty blowouts because basically the entire front line is out. The starting front line is out, and she's had to come in and attempt to fill that void, and those aren't small shoes to fill, man. You got Shakira out, her defensive versatility. Then, of course, Elena Deladon, what she brings to the table. So big shout out to Tiana, man. And, it's funny because Coach Tebow has been raving about the great offseason she had since the beginning of the season, saying how focused she was and how great shape she was in. And we're seeing that now. So yeah, just wanted to give her some love. But yeah, the Mystics, they're back in action tomorrow playing the Lynx. That's going to be a tough game. They got to put their hard hat on and come to play. Offensively, they've been sputtering at moments, but they've been putting points up. Defensively is where they need to kind of step it up and get things going. Of course, their rim protection is taking a hit with the injuries. But on the perimeter, and they got to be better. Especially with the size not being there. They gotta sit down, man, and stay in front of the woman in guarding as much as possible. But they're fully capable with with Natasha and Brittany Sykes out there. So yeah, they just gotta hold it down, man. Weather this storm, and when they're whole again, they can really make some noise.
All right, like you said, got a game tomorrow. Got one Friday, Sunday, busy week, big opportunity. Like Cardell and I were talking on Mystics Outlook. They got a chance to continue to hold water, if not just hold this spot in the standings, because folks are coming. They got a tough one on Friday in Dallas. Dallas has been very good this season. Obviously because they've been kind of healthy for the most part, but their size is crazy, and for a team that's literally missing their size, it's gonna be tough sledding, for sure. So for you, those of you that follow us as far as Mystics Outlook goes, we'll see you several more times this week, for sure. All right, Octavia, what is the 2023 season? And your first NFC East segment. Here we go.
Yeah, I think it is the 2023 season. I always get confused because the Super Bowl's in 2024, but whatever. Anyways, yeah, it's finally pretty much by today. Everybody in the entire league has reported to training camp. We had some people start last week or on the 18th with rookies reporting, but excuse me, as of today, everybody is reported in the NFC East and in the entire NFL. So there are some things going on that has to do with camp, doesn't have to do with camp, has to do with players. So just to touch on a couple things as our first, getting our feet wet a little bit in this first NFC East segment this season. So gonna go ahead and start with the Dallas Cowboys. They reported to camp today. They all flew out to California, which again always boggles my mind why they always go to California for training camp, but whatever. They all reported today. They all got chartered on the plane yesterday. They were supposed to report today, although it's not a requirement for them to be on the plane. They just need to be there by today. And there was one notable absence. Zach Martin did not report. He is feeling a little bit like a lot of players nowadays. They just don't feel like they're getting paid enough. So Zach Martin did not report. He's entering his 5th year of a 6-year extension that he signed in 2014. His average salary of $14 million barely lands him inside the top 10 of interior line play, despite being probably a clear-cut Hall of Famer. I'm sure he's looking to get something done. He's seen all the money that's being thrown around, and he wants some too. I believe Jerry Jones says he doesn't think there's any pressing contractual issues. Maybe he said that before this happened. Don't know. But I'm sure that's a big deal. They want to make sure they get him solidified. So we'll look forward to see what happens there. Somebody else who reported, because they definitely got paid and they are happy and ready to get to work out there in Dallas, Trayvon Diggs signed a 5-year, $97 million extension. Sources say that it's worth $97 million and includes a $21.25 million signing bonus. He is guaranteed $42.3 million. He was scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent after this season, but he is now signed through 2028. The deal can max out at $104 million if he hits on his incentives. He's averaging $19.4 million with this contract, which ties him for 5th among the highest paid cornerbacks in the NFL, behind Marshawn Lattimore of the Saints, Jair Alexander of the Packers, Denzel Ward of the Browns, Jalen Ramsey of the, I have to say Miami Dolphins now. I almost said the other team. And Baltimore's Marlon Humphreys are the only ones that have a higher salary than him currently. So congratulations to him. Always happy when somebody gets paid. But now I feel like if there was any, there's always talk about people saying who's the best corner and are they going to live up to the deal. But anything he heard before is probably going to be heightened now because he's getting paid. So just looking forward to see how he, keeps up how he's been playing. Like, I think he's a great player. I don't think he'll have any drop off, and I'm sure he's ready to just go to work now. Just hopefully not 2 times against my team this year. Every other time, I don't really care. Last thing, really, the big news really is just with the Mike McCarthy now, of course, going over to be the play caller. Just really want to see how that works out. They say they want to run the ball a lot. Still looking to see who's going to be behind Tony Pollard, who's again coming off of an injury. He did also signed a franchise tag, and we playing on the tag at $10.1 million this year. There was a lot of talk in the offseason about where Zeke's going to go, what he's going to do. I haven't heard them talk about Zeke in a while, so I don't know how that's going to shake out for them. And of course, because Mike McCarthy is saying he wants to run the ball more, maybe it's because everybody just keeps talking about the interceptions that Dak threw last year, although they were uncharacteristic. They were a lot. Dak has already come out, kind of pointed to the sky and said he's not going to have more than 10 interceptions this year. So hopefully he doesn't for his team's sake. Hopefully he does for my team's sake. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like Dak has proven himself to pretty much protect the ball. You know, last year to me was an anomaly or an outlier or whatever you want to call it. Because a lot of those picks were not his fault, but a lot of them were. So, you know, you just got to be objective when you look at it, but I think he'll be able to bounce back. So, with their training camp just now getting started, we'll have more as time goes on. The closer and closer we get to preseason and the season starting. So, another big story that happened this morning when we talk about running backs and not getting paid. The main one was your Saquon Barkley for the New York Giants. And I woke up this morning kind of flabbergasted because I was under the impression that he couldn't sign any other deals since the deadline had passed and he did not sign the franchise tag. But they found a caveat in those rules. He cannot sign a long-term deal. So him and the New York Giants agreed to a 1-year deal. The deal is for up to $11 million and includes a $2 million signing bonus. They add that the deal includes $910,000 in incentives, which again, this was my first thought also when I heard a little bit of the contract details. The base value is the same price as the franchise tag. So I'm just a little confused. While we did all this extraness, could have just signed the franchise tag, got the same amount of money. But neither here nor there, you know, it happened. And he reported to camp today. The rookies reported on the 18th. The vets reported today. So this was done early this morning, and I'm sure he was ready to go at camp. I feel like probably the happiest person to see him there was Daniel Jones. Again, he is the reason that Saquon is going through this problem. He's getting paid $40 million. And a lot of that should be going to Saquon. Some other things in this is that there is no provision in the contract that prevents the Giants from tagging Barkley again next offseason. So we could be dealing with this all over again next year. And then, of course, we have more, you know, big name running backs that are going to be due for extensions next year as well. So this could just be putting a pin in it and doing it all over again next summer. We'll see. And it's kind of also, you know, there are reports that Barkley and his reps were offered a deal worth up to $14 million before last season, turned it down, and now he's in this situation. So he's on a 1-year deal. We'll see how that shakes out for him. They also signed James Robinson in the midst of this situation. We'll see how that works out for them as well. They still got Matt Breida, and I think it's Gary Brightwell. So we'll see who ends up on the depth chart behind him. There was also some rumors as this was going on. Mike Florio stated per multiple sources that the Giants called a dozen teams in an effort to find a potential trade partner back in March and April. So who knows if that's something they're still looking at. Barkley called Cap. You know, he doesn't believe it. We always know per sources. We never really know who these sources are. So just some things that they were throwing out there. But again, their vets are really getting started today in training camp. So I'm most interested to see how a lot of them function in the day ball system in year 2. I think they have some good pieces that I kind of like. I keep forgetting Darren Waller is over there. So sometimes that scares me when I think about it. And I'm interested to see how their wide receiving core holds up this year. Sterling Shepard, I really like him. He just can't stay healthy. He's already starting this year on the PUP list. Just not a good deal. Him and Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm interested to see the rookie, Jalen Hyatt. He's fast, but to me, he's kind of built the same as a Devontae Smith for the Eagles. So I'm trying to see if he can have that same type of trajectory that I feel like Devontae has with being a smaller wide receiver, but fast, good footwork, can catch the ball pretty much anywhere. I think he has the likelihood to do something like that. And then I think a lot of people forget that they had Daniel Bellinger, who was a pretty decent tight end last year until he got poked in the eye, like terribly, and was out for a good while. So it'll be interesting to see them having 2 kind of decent tight ends, see if they do need 2 tight end sets. So I'm just interested to see how everything works out for them. Excuse me. Moving right along to the hometown Washington Commanders, who, with this news, we hope will not be called the Commanders too much longer. The Washington Commanders are officially sold They are no longer owned by Daniel Snyder. The NFL owners voted during a special session on Thursday, unanimously approved the team's sale from the Snyder family to a group led by Josh Harris, and we all know is including of Magic Johnson. I said before, he already has Magic Johnson Boulevard. He might as well just be here anyway. He's already out and about in the town, dancing the go-go everywhere, so he is here. The Harris Group is paying a record $6.05 billion, a record sum for a North American sports franchise. I mean, who would have known the Commanders would be that lucrative? Snyder had owned the majority of the Commanders since 1999, and his family has become the sole owners after he bought out his limited partner 2 years ago. But although he sold it for a pretty penny, he also owes a pretty penny back to the NFL. Daniel Snyder has been fined by the NFL for $60 million after attorney Mary Jo White released her findings following a lengthy investigation into the now former owner. The investigation began after House Oversight Committees reviewed workplace misconduct, as well as a referral to the Federal Trade Commission for alleged financial improprieties by Snyder. As we've come to find out, he was not paying certain money that he needed to pay back to the NFL. Now he's going to be taxed on his way out. I have multiple Commanders fan friends, and I think everybody is like, it's the Super Bowl. Like, we have just won the Super Bowl with getting rid of Dan Snyder. I think they had a pep rally on Thursday. Like, they're living it up. As I've said, being a fan of an NFC East team, I don't kind of like it. I'm happy for y'all. Yes, I don't like it because, I feel like y'all might get actual functioning like ownership. You guys might actually be like a functioning franchise, and there's one less franchise that we had to worry about. So I guess we'll see how that works. I believe Magic said that they weren't looking immediately to change the name, but because they have so much other things that they need to do. But I'm sure many fans and people who are not fans are looking forward to the change. And I think the funniest thing I heard in this whole situation is they said the first thing they need to do is redo the Sean Taylor statue, because that wasn't it. So they need to go back to the drawing board and actually get him a statue, not just like a mannequin that you see in like Dick's Sporting Goods with like a Reebok jersey and like a Nike pants and a helmet. Yeah, so I hope they work on that. That's my hope for them. Probably another good thing for them. A lot of people talk about the wide receivers in the NFC East, and a lot of times they do leave out Terry McLaurin. For the first time ever for him, Terry McLaurin has ranked in the top 100 of top NFL players voted on by NFL players. The list is now slowly starting to come out. I believe they just did 100 to 94-ish, and he's ranked 94. He earned his first career Pro Bowl nod last season after he had 77 receptions, 1,191 receiving yards. A lot of people say if he had consistent quarterback play, he would be a lot higher in some people's radars. A lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to him because, the franchise is going into their 6th straight season of a new starting quarterback. It's kind of hard to get any type of continuity that way. But that quarterback right now is slated to be Sam Howell. I think he had a decent game in the one game he played at the end of the season last year. And I'm just, seeing how he can continue on with that. It might just be me slipping my mind right now. I can't think of who's even behind him. So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of depth they get there. But yeah, that, and then I think the biggest other thing I'm really looking forward to seeing how Chase Young bounces back after these knee injuries that he's had. We know they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. I think he'll bounce back pretty well. And I'm interested to see it again, just not 2 times against my team. And last but not least, my Philadelphia Eagles, your reigning NFC champions, should be Super Bowl champions, but I digress. They all reported to camp today, rookies, vets, all together. So not too much coming out on that forefront. As of now, the only really kind of decent news coming out, they did add offensive lineman Dennis Kelly, who is a former Philadelphia Eagle. The veteran filled in as a swing tackle for the Colts in 2022 started 3 of the 16 games he played, logging 240 snaps. So it just looks like they're looking to build up some offensive line depth. We lost some good offensive linemen with Isaac Siamalo, a backup with Andre Dillard. So it's just seeming like they're trying to at least get some other bodies in there because, sometimes when the offensive line gets injured, it can throw a whole season off. So I think it's a great idea for them to have him. Once he officially signs, if he hasn't already, there will be 8 offensive tackles on the 90-man roster as of now, as they work to cut it down to 53. With the training camp starting today, they did work out some other notable, I don't know if you want to say notable, but some other players before camp just to see. They worked out Marcus Allen, Quentin Barrow, Dean Cain, N'Keal Harry, DeAndre Houston Carson. I'm not going to say this name because I'm going to butcher it. And Javante Payton. They ended up signing Deion Kane, wide receiver, who is pretty much a veteran, just to get some veterans in there as well. I think the presence of losing Zach Pascal and that type of veteran, quote unquote, leadership would be a situation. So it's nice to see them kind of try to replace it. And speaking of top 100 players, ranked number 100 in that list was Devontae Smith. In his second season as a Philadelphia Eagles, he became a safety blanket, of course, for Jalen Hurts. He led the Eagles with 95 receptions, adding a career high of 1,196 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. He became basically the number 2 option right behind A.J. Brown, and I expect nothing more before his production to continue to increase. As far as in the wide receiver room, what I'm really looking forward to is because we know AJ's 1, Devontae's 2. Granted, he's not a wide receiver. Dallas Goedert would be 3. But I'm interested to see who that third wide receiver is going to be. Is it going to be Quez Watkins, or is it going to be Zacchaeus? Came over from Atlanta. He's a really good slot receiver, which Quez is as well, but he didn't have a great season last year. But I think he's ready to bounce back. So I think that type of fight or competition in camp is going to be really, really healthy to see. Other things I'm looking for is basically really see how all the rookies kind of shape out. We got a lot of Georgia Bulldogs, so I'm interested to see if they're going to continue to be Georgia Bulldogs. Jordan Davis came into camp looking extra slim, looked like he lost some weight, added some muscle. That's always great. I'm really, as far as rookies, the one I'm really interested to see the most is Sidney Brown, safety out of Chicago. Reading a lot of stuff I've read over the summer, a lot of people are really high on him, and we know safety is probably the biggest hole that we have as a team, to be completely honest. I would say safety and punter, honestly. With losing CJ Gardner-Johnson and Epps as well. So you have Terrell Edmonds was coming in. Greedy, I can't think of his last name. Greedy, they used to play for the Browns. He's there. But you're looking at Blankenship probably starting, who was a rookie last year. So the safety position is probably going to be, to me, the biggest competition to see who can kind of fill out and be the starters in that aspect. But outside of that, I mean, granted, we're one day into training camp for pretty much all 4 of these teams. And I'm just super excited. Like I'm ready for games to come on. I've been watching old games on NFL Network, like, because there's nothing else on TV, to be completely honest. And yeah, the only thing that I hated on TV right now is if you watch Quarterbacks, that's on Netflix, just don't watch the last episode. I couldn't watch it.
It's quality programming. You'll be all right.
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't do it. I literally fast forward through the entire game because I couldn't watch it.
It's fine. Life goes on. Your team lost the Super Bowl. It happens. Kermit's a bad man. Accept it. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, a quick update from DC United. And we'll see you guys in just a minute. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, DC United again coming off the All-Star break, so no MLS matches as of right now. They do have 2 League Cup matches this week. One on Wednesday against Montreal. That's on the road, and then they'll be home at Audi on Saturday when they play Pumas. During that time, in terms of that All-Star break, DC United placed Taxi Founces and Nigel Roberto on administrative leave while the league investigated possible violations of MLS policy and that was on July 21st. We don't really do speculation here, so I'm not going to get into all that. But Twitter's free for now for some folks. You guys can figure out or get on. I think Pablo Maurer at The Athletic has a pretty detailed report on what went into that. That said, again, they both got placed on administrative leave on July 21st. On the 24th, Nigel Roberto was reinstated and allowed to participate in team activities immediately. The same cannot be said for Taxi Fountas. Also, transfer window is coming to a close, I believe August 2nd. So see if there's any last minute move DC United might make. Again, the Inter Miami show's off to a good start. If you guys haven't realized, yes, Messi is here. He's having a blast. They're in the middle of a game right now. It's another League Cup game. He had a brace in the first half. Quick 2 goals. It's 3 goals, 2 games. Almost like he was worth the money. Fun times. Again, they got a long way to go in terms of the standings go. For DC United right now, getting back to DC United, they are 9th against league play. They'll be back in league play starting next week. Coming out of our second break, we're going to see what Cardell asked for as a rapid fire because I can only imagine what's on the list. There's a lot of stuff that came out over this weekend. So you're watching Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Here we go. It's time for rapid fire. What you got for us, Cardell?
Yeah, we're going to start on the NBA side of things. Obviously, the big news today, Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown has agreed to sign the richest deal in NBA history, 5-year, $304 million Supermax contract extension via his agent, Jason Glushon. Brown and Glushon met with Celtics management and ownership Sunday evening in Boston, finalizing the remaining elements of the historic deal that keeps the 2-time All-Star in the contract through the 28-29 season. Brown averaged career best of 26.6 points, 49% and 49% shooting from the field last season. He will make $31.8 million next season, the final year of his previous deal. And Brown is slated to make $52.3 million when the contract kicks in during the 24-25 season, and end at $69.1 million in the 28-29 season, the final year of the deal. He is not eligible for a no trade clause because he signed an extension. Just wanted to get all of your thoughts on just the historic deal, being the first $300 million player in NBA history, from the aspect what it means for the Celtics and what it means for the league overall. As young players see that, and you look at particularly the number 1 pick and where he could potentially be, and how he gonna push it down, a few years down when it's his time. Just what the impact of this contract has on the league overall. I'm gonna start with you, Octavia.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought, honestly. It's like, if JB is getting 304, Jason Tatum's going to get a it's definitely going to be more. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm always 100% for people getting their bag. He deserves it. Granted, I mean, I think a lot of people will look at the last 2 seasons with the Celtics not really getting it done, losing in the finals the year before and losing in Game 7 against the Heat in the semis this year, or in the finals. Yeah. So it's just wild to me. It just shows you that there's more and more as the years and years go by. People are gonna get paid more and more and more and more, and it's just crazy to think like he's gonna be like averaging like anywhere between 50 and almost $70 million a year. But yeah, it definitely still brings me back to thinking about, once his deal kind of gets going and JT's deal comes through, what's going to happen at that point. As we know, they talk a lot about, is it a good idea to keep them together, split them up? And I think we had this conversation early on this year when we first talked about his potential supermax, that this was kind of expected. It's not much that they could have done differently. They got to kind of roll the dice with them as of now because they've been so close. And I do like the addition of Kristaps Porzingis with them. I'm interested to see how that works out as well. But as far as the deal, yeah, like, he gonna bag. I mean, I'll be honest, knowing that he's the first ever player to get that amount, like 300 mil plus, that kind of surprises me because of the caliber of players that we've seen come through the league. But again, it's right. Unfortunately, it's right place, right time. To be honest, you hear a lot of the older players saying, "Some dang, I was born in the wrong year. Like I should have been born a lot later." But yeah, I mean, he got his bag as we knew he would, but yeah, 304 mil. That's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, like when we talked about it, I feel like it was right after the season ended, the finals. But Boston, they pretty much didn't have a choice. This was a foregone conclusion. But we did talk about that timeline and the decisions they gonna have to make. Once right around the time when that money gets super real. So we'll see how that plays out. But definitely kudos to him. Like Octavia said, man, if they got to back up the Brinks truck, I'm never against that. But like you said, Cardell, the type of precedent this is going to set moving forward, you know, now with things, the league trying to rein in these things that setting the hard cap and all that. Teams gonna have some decisions to make, man. They're not going to be able to be as top heavy and still field a competitive roster. So the ripple effect's going to be interesting, man. But yeah, the market is now set. So Jaylen Brown's worth 304. When his teammate is ready to sit at the table, who knows what kind of numbers he's going to be talking about? These other guys looking around the league, they see these things, and unlike the NFL, NBA players got a whole lot more leverage. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, man. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty sure the owners are not happy, but I can care less about that. But with that 304, some expectations got to come with it. So I hope should he not meet those expectations, he's not surprised that gets talked about. And not in a malicious way. It's a healthy conversation to be had, man. You getting paid this amount of money, then I need some jury to come with that. Plain and simple. Like that's it. There's no other result, man. We're betting on you. We're giving you what you're worth. Now it's time for you to make good on that. So should that not happen, then we gotta have another discussion. But I think with all this money being thrown around, that has kind of removed that part of it for some reason. For some of these players, they want the money, they don't want the responsibility and the expectations, and want to have to produce according to how they're being paid. So kudos to everybody that decides to be an NBA coach, because that's got to be a tough job, man. You're trying to lead people making 4 times as much as you, and they just don't care at that point, to be perfectly honest, man. And it's evident. But it is what it is. That's their worries, not mine. I just get to talk about it from the sideline. And I'm going to keep doing that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out for the league moving forward.
Wilson.
Yeah, as the money, as the revenue continues to grow in the NBA, the going rate continues to change, right? And my biggest thing is what Ray said. The bigger the bag, the bigger the responsibility goes with it. And for when his teammate gets his as well. Hey, look, man, some of these folks, they end up getting max contracts. Fortunately for some of them, they're in different parts of the country where the fan base might not be going as crazy or whatnot. But that's Boston, man. Like Ray and Cardell, you got both mentioned talk about jewelry. Is there expectations that come with it? And that's Boston, man. I wish y'all the best with that. Um, yeah, you're gonna expect things as the money continues to grow, the expectations rise, and as owners, obviously, if the money's going up for players, clearly it's going, the teams are making more money as well. However, those expectations, and that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like the leagues continue to grow, I'm not too surprised as the money going up. But sometimes like I don't know if all players realize what comes with it, and those discussions. It's one thing when those discussions happen about one of your teammates or one of your peers versus when it's you. So I'm interested to see how it goes. Again, that is Boston. That is place is crazy sports wise, and I know since Jason and Jalen have been together, for the most part it's always Eastern Conference Finals. They've been hitting for the most part. I don't want to misspeak, but at some point they're gonna want that final round that comes with the ring and the podium and all that stuff. And if both of y'all are making 300 mil, they're gonna start demanding those things from you both.
Yeah, my take from it, typically a lot of people are always going to start with the negative side, like, is he even good enough to warrant that contract or whatnot? That's beside the point. It's the timing of when it occurs. You know what I mean? And he just happened to be in position to get that right now. Besides, there are plenty of guys before him over the last few years who signed for 200 M's, not even doing what he does or duplicating what his team has done. I'm not going to name any names, but we've seen one up close. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, can he get mad at it? Because at the end of the day, if he's able to be paid that much, think about what the owners are getting. All right, so that's one part of it. The other part is, definitely ain't no excuses. And it ain't some expectations. All the expectations need rings with the Z at the end of that joint. Like, that's Boston, bro. Like, they don't respect none but rings, man. That's the standard Bill Russell and boys set way back when. And that's just the standard, man. So we all thought, it seemed like yesterday, but it was a couple years, season ago, man, you signed for 200 M's, man, you stuck with that for a minute. But clearly that's not the case. You can get moved too. So, yeah, Jalen, like, you got a ball, dog. First, I'm talking about first team All NBA, year in, year out, top defender. You got to get rings. Clearly it's not realistic to say you got to win every year, but you got to win, man. Y'all got to win. Y'all got to get it done. Or we splitting this up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else could take that and, we deal with the next one. It is what it is, because when you talk about between two players, they damn near worth a bill. That's crazy. That's just wild. And I'm all for players getting their bag, man. Like, that's just the hooper in me. Get it, because most of the time throughout NBA history, the owners have just been, I don't want to use the R word, but y'all get what I'm saying. They just been treating players like trash, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, players weren't even getting close to their value at all. But the owners were sitting pretty. It was just sick. It was ridiculous. But no, you can't have one without the other, man. This is not some kumbaya rainbow Nickelodeon Disney show, man. This is real life. And when you get paid a certain amount of money, expectations come with that, man. And ain't nobody trying to hit excuses. He better not be tweeting like, man, y'all fans don't understand. If you ain't want those expectations, don't sign a contract. It just comes with that. So now you need to be up there top 5 NBA player year in, year out until it's over. Like, it's just like that. And that's why with Bill, that new ownership came, and you gotta go, dog, because you ain't that. We don't believe you're that. So you can't have it both ways. Like, I like Jalen. I love him ever since he was a kid in high school. I'm happy. I love the growth he's had to even get to this point. The scary thing on the positive side is he still has room to grow. Like, he ain't even maximized his full potential. And that's scary. If him and Tatum really maximize what they got, they can be in position not to just win one. They can make 2 or 3 in a row, because we haven't seen a 3-peat in a while. So that should be their expectation. And signing this contract pretty much says that the Celtics believe you're capable of doing that. So you got to reward it. You know what I mean? I'm not with the notion with all these fans where they so blinded by their emotional attachment to certain players and fandom, where it's just like, well, it's all about what the player wants and what they need. You catering to that. Nah, man, you got to meet the team halfway, especially when they're being loyal and they holding you down. You feel what I'm saying? Like, me personally, if somebody give me a $300 million check, I feel obligated to handle my business, bro. Like, seriously. Like, they will only see me in the gym. It's like, damn. Like, y'all believe in me? Like, that's real. Just you believe in me that much? Like I got generations of my family that is straight now. You see what I'm saying? Let me handle my business, man. So we can be even more straight. And y'all can be straight too, because that's just real. So, I'm happy for him. I'm eager to see what it does, but this show's only the beginning. Because the next thing, like I said, I brought up Wembanyama for a reason. He matches his potential. Man, it ain't gonna take long. You might be seeing like a $500 million player in 4 or 5 years. Like real talk. Like it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be crazy, especially if he gets where he's capable of being. So, and one last thing, people trying to keep wondering why Jordan got out. This is why. This is exactly why. You're like, hold on, because I think Dan LaMelo just signed for like 230, and we can't make the playoffs. I'm out. Y'all can have it. I'm out, dog. We gonna move on. That's just real. Here we go. Staying on the NBA side, former NBA player, center Odin Polynice made an appearance on Fox Sports The Odd Couple, during which he revealed his low expectations for Wembanyama's NBA career. He said, rather than buying to the Wemby hype, Polynice is sitting squarely on the opposite side of the spectrum, suggesting that the 7'4" center compares more closely to Sean Bradley than he does any of the league's all-time great centers. Quote, he hopes to be better than Sean Bradley, in my opinion. I'm serious. I'm not even putting him in the Yao Ming category right now. For reference, Bradley averaged 8.6 rebounds across a 12-year career. Failed to make a single All-Star game or win a championship, although he was the league's blocks leader in 96-97. But guys like that, they're over 7'5", they're just shot blockers. He's probably trying to do all that stuff he was doing overseas. It's going to be very difficult for him to do that in the NBA. Polynice, who played in more than 1,000 NBA games across 15 seasons for the Sonics, Kings, Jazz, Clippers, and Pistons, offer a further hot take regarding Wembanyama's potential, indicating he thinks Suns' big man Bobo is a superior talent. Quote, yes, Bobo has better physical talent and is more ready to play in the NBA right now than Victor is. Ray, I'll start with you. What's your thought on Mr. Odin Polynice scouting report on Mr. Wembanyama?
You're Odin Polynice, bro. Like, why are they even talking to you? I mean, you made the league, you stuck around for a while, cool, but you weren't better than Sean Bradley, so wow. Like, I don't understand, man. Like, he's when people like him say stuff like that, I be understanding the youngins sometimes. Like, shut y'all old ass up, man. Like, for real, dog. Like, why are you coming out on here just hating on this young kid like that, man? Like, even if you don't believe he's whatever they say he is, just I wish him the best. I hope he has a great career. End of story. Like, he's going to have a better career than you. So I don't understand. But I get it. He was a full-time role player, and now social media and all this stuff gives these guys a chance to have a voice and, try to accomplish what they couldn't accomplish on the court. So, more power to you, dog, but he got to be in his 50s now, and I'm pretty sure he's miserable based on them comments. Like, yeah, but don't interview Odin Polynice. Like, you couldn't get nobody else. Like, oh yeah, man. Like, just cut that hating stuff out, dude. Like, it's totally unnecessary.
Wilson.
Yeah, it must have been a slow week, man. It had to be a slow week for the booker of that program. Slow week. I know their happy training camp got started because why are we talking to Mr. Polynice? And also, what does he have in common with Victor? What are we? Were you also 7'5" and can speak to us and tell us exactly what the kid might be going through? Also, the NBA you played in isn't the NBA that's today. Two totally different NBAs. Also, how about I don't know, man. Like, you want to wait till like maybe the middle of his rookie season to maybe see, just maybe wait a couple months before we start saying just anything. Also, like, he played overseas already. Like, it's just we got to do a better job at all athletes don't need a microphone, and this is just sometimes an example of one of those situations. And I think that's where I just leave it right there. But you too old to be hating like this before the rookie year even started.
Octavian.
Yeah, you guys said a lot of stuff that I was gonna say. First thing is like who booked him? Like I had to go look up. I'm like the odd couple on Fox Sports. What first of all, what show is this? Like who is this who are these people? I'm like, okay, Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. Well, first of all, why are y'all even like you said, why are you what how did this come up? Like, is he promoting a book or something? Or like how did he get booked to be on the show? And yeah, like I'm always the type of person that's like, I don't like when like younger kids in the game, whatever you want to call them, like disrespect elders. But like Ray said, like these are the times I see when they kind of get like turned up because it's like, why? Like that's my only real issue. Like why? Like why do you feel like you have to say that his ceiling is Sean Bradley? Like, and then also, I mean, we've seen him play in what, two semi NBA games in summer league. I mean, he's only been demolishing people in the Euro leagues that he's been playing in. So yeah, it's probably gonna take him a little bit of time to kind of get acclimated to the NBA, as I'm pretty sure almost every NBA rookie goes through. Like, I don't understand, and I ain't gonna lie, I had to look up who this person was. I'm like, who? Mike Jones? Who? Like, who is this person? Like, why are you even talking? But yeah, it definitely to me it seems like hate, to be honest. Because looking it up, Victor's what 7'5". This guy was 7 feet. They both went in the first round apparently. So like you're technically probably considered a first round bust. So it's like he kind of wants Victor to be a first round bust with him, but it's not looking like that's going to happen. So yeah, I'm more so upset with the people that gave him the platform to say this nonsense. Um, because I mean, he seems like, yeah, I'll get on get on there and say anything, basically. Um, 58 years old and hating on a 19-year-old, that's just ridiculous to me. So I guess if it makes him sleep good at night, that's fine. But he honestly could have kept that to himself.
Yeah, it just goes back to for me. Just because you play in the league don't mean you know what you're talking about. Like that's dead. I don't even want to hear that, man. It's just it's just a case by case scenario, man. You know what I mean? And it ain't it's not all an opinion. We got the same opinion, all that, but you gotta say something knowledgeable. Like one, yes, both of them around the same height, whatever, but common sense. Sean Bradley ain't have anywhere the skill set this kid has. Like nothing close to it. That's why when you really look at this kid, the only one that comes up is Ralph Sampson. Because Ralph Sampson was the only one that can get the rock, push it up court, shoot jumpers, make moves off the bounce, pass, do all that stuff that Victor does. But Victor has more range and whatever. Sampson was more dominant inside, more of a shot blocker and all that. But they both not far from each other from where the other one has an advantage. You see what I'm saying? So there's a reason why he's being compared to that instead of Sean Bradley and all that. I don't know what's wrong with people's eyes. Basketball to me is very simple. You just gotta accept what it is, but the other stuff get involved with the ego and misery and regret and all that, and it just clouds people's judgment, man. Um, and I get it, man. Like you know, it just makes no sense, though. It just really don't because it's not even in the same ballpark. And even Yao Ming was on his way to he's a Hall of Fame, but really a Hall of Fame career. He just got hurt. I mean, his body broke down, but he became a monster. You see what I'm saying? So, uh, you know, and then you saying Bobo having trouble staying on the team. No, I believe in his talent, but he's having trouble staying on a team right now. This kid's the number one pick. He's set. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, um, I just don't get it. Like y'all said, man, stuff got to make sense, and especially I just feel like it's too much irresponsible takes when you get on these shows and national platforms and stuff, man. When you get on there, you got to handle your business, man, despite your professional preference. Because at the end of the day, what it does is it causes so much negativity, not just for this kid. Now you done brought Sean Bradley into it. Sean Bradley was minding his business, and now you're gonna have kids looking at him like you trash. Like whatever Sean Bradley somewhere doing a basketball camp or something. You know what I'm saying? Now them kids are like, you trash. I just read something, you know, like the Cam Newton situation just recently or something like that. And he's like, where is this coming from? I'm minding my business. He look up and see Odin Pollin is talking about him. He's like, come on, bro. At least I led the league in blocks one year. What you do? You see what I'm saying? Now it's a chain reaction. Then there's two old heads beefing in the press. You know what I'm saying? So it's just man, you ain't got nothing nice to say, man. Just chill, dog. It's too much negativity. It's already enough. You don't need no more. Twitter's, like I said, successful. I always say that, you know, social media. So it's enough people to feel that, man. And you being an alum in the NBA, you should already know what it is. And also, I think he's kind of gauging it by when the time he played, where it's more physical guys get into you. It ain't like that no more. It's more free flowing. So he ain't even got to deal with that. Now, some certain guys gonna get up in him, you know, like Draymond. I know Marcus Smart, guys that's physical. But for the most part, he ain't got to deal with that bump like when Oldness was playing in the 90s or whatever. So yeah, it's just silly, man. But these dudes, man, gotta keep their name out there. Next one, Damian Lillard. Obviously, we know he continue to wait as he's trying to get his way out of Portland. He has his sights set on the Miami Heat, but certain people in the league and don't really aren't a fan of the move, so to speak. Austin Rivers chimed in on the situation during a recent episode of his podcast, calling a 7-time All-Star trade request bad for the league. It's a quote: "If you're a free agent, then you can choose where you're going to go. That's the business. But when you're not, and you sign a deal, that's part of the business. If you get traded somewhere, you got to go play," said Rivers. He said this started with James Harden and Ben Simmons doing this ish. It's bad for the league. It's a scary dynamic when stars start acting like this, and I'm not a big fan of it. Rivers went on to obviously compliment Lillard's game, calling him one of the hardest players I've had to guard in my life, but maintain the stance and that he's not a fan of stars forcing their way out of a team despite having signed a contract. In Lillard's case, he signed a 2-year max extension with the Blazers just last year and will be under contract through the 26-27 season. Despite recently committing his future to Portland, it's unclear if he actually suit up for the Blazers this upcoming season. Wilson, we're going to start with you. Just do you agree with Rivers, first of all, and do you think it's bad for the league that stars are always trying to force their way out when they're not happy, or do you think it's good?
I don't think it's good, first of all. I'm not a fan of it, period, regardless of the situation. You know, if you're at the level that you're good enough to be considered a superstar, what have you, it's not a good look. Everybody moving every 12 seconds or whatnot. I know I feel like Austin got a lot of backlash for this statement, but I think he's speaking for the class of the NBA that he represents, because people don't think about that class of the NBA. When the top 1% gets to tripping and doing whatever they want to do, shoving their weight around, a lot of folks in the middle get impacted, and nobody thinks about those folks. So I get where he's coming from, but yeah, it's not a good look. Also, you know, it's another conversation for another day. I got a whole thought on, like, you know, the qualifications for superstars. That's another discussion. We can all talk about that at another time. But I get what he's saying, and that's why, you know, guess who doesn't have a no trade clause in their new $300 million contract? You know, somebody messed that up for other folks. Those no trade clauses aren't going to be, here's the money. No. No. You're not going to be able to push around that way. And then, again, like, we got the new CBA kicking in, next season? Which a lot of people aren't thinking about why the top 1% or 2% are doing whatever they do. Think about how that impacts everybody in the middle. Like, rookies are going to be okay, right? But I feel like we're getting closer to, like, the NFL type way of building a team to a degree from a contractual standpoint. Obviously, NBA players make more money. It's not, you know, they're not going through what NFL players are going through from that regard. But that middle class is changing how it goes about building a team, because the middle class is going to shrink.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have people on middle class where push come to shove, we're going to see a lot of those folks taking those 1 year vet mins or what have you, depending on where they're at, because of you're getting squeezed from the top and the bottom, right? Where the rookie's going to make their money is almost like slotted, right? That's slotted. You got your top 1% where they get to do whatever they want to do and be as irresponsible as they want to be. Not all of them, but almost all of them that are in that group. And, it takes a couple folks to mess it up for everybody, but I agree with them. But no, I don't think it's good for the league. Because, look, there's a really small group at the top where, like we talk about, when they move, the league feels it, right? Everybody that's been pushing their weight around is not in that class of players. And even when the people in that class do it, I don't think any of us come on and said that it's right that they do it. So, I just think he's speaking from the part of the NBA nobody pays any freaking attention to. So, I agree with him wholeheartedly, because that middle class in the NBA is going to get, they're not going to get squeezed as bad as the NFL by any means, but they're going to get squeezed. It's going to heavily impact those guys that nobody really talks about.
It's already happening. It's reflective of society. The rich getting richer, the middle class is going away, and it's just going to be rich and lower class, in a sense in NBA terms. Octavian.
Yeah, I agree with him. My only small caveat would be I wish he would have said this when James and Ben was doing it, because I feel like theirs was more egregious than Dame's.
He spoke out on James for sure.
Okay, so I might have missed
it. He definitely.
And I don't have an issue with it then, because I feel like theirs was more egregious, and we know that James is a repeat offender. Every time he just mad at somebody, he ready to go. But yeah, I agree. Like, I never liked it in the first place. Like, to me, it's a business, and if somebody is paying you for your services and they contractually obligate you to these services, how is it that all of a sudden you just, decide you don't want to do it no more? Like, what was the point of a contract? And I think we said this in the past. I think maybe you said it, Carter. It's like, if I got a job and I just decide I don't want to go to work no more, and I want to go start working here instead of there, like, how like, what sense does that make? And then why would my job make it easy for me to go where I want to go? Like, oh yeah, you can go to our competitor. That's cool. No, I don't really like that. I have my own personal feelings about the whole Dame situation, just because Dame was the reason I liked Portland, and I kind of started being a fan of Portland. And I liked his commitment and loyalty to Portland. Now I understand the situation in Portland. It's not seeming to get any better for him, and I know he wants to get a ring. So I do appreciate the fact that he wasn't doing this frequently like some other stars have done. I do think he's kind of done it at least as tastefully as you can do. One thing I don't like is that he's kind of just pigeonholing them to one team. That to me makes no sense, because I don't know who they think they want back from Miami. Like, I don't understand why Dame thinks that's a good idea. That, yeah, like, they don't want Tyler Hero. I'm sorry, they don't want him. So it's like, if he's not giving them any other options, I feel like they do want to work with him because of the loyalty he's shown their franchise in the past. But at the end of the day, they gotta do what they gotta do. Like, and that's kind of where I'm at, because Dame, they done gave you a lot of money. So we can't sit here and make it seem like you were so loyal, and done all of this stuff out the goodness of your heart. Like, yeah, of course you wanted to be there. You feel like you found your roots there and everything like that. But they paid you a pretty penny. You made a lot of money there. Like I said, like, I will not forget, like, you lost your entire starting five when you first signed your first contract, because they couldn't afford to pay anybody else. So he's as much to blame as the situation that he's in as the organization. So at this point, what is the organization supposed to do? Just give you away for pennies on a dollar? They can't do that. It's a business. So I am interested to see how it works out. I give Austin Rivers a lot of credit for saying it out loud, because I feel like a lot of players won't say it out loud. There are certain things that we talk about players having podcasts, and I'm tired of hearing them talking about stupid stuff. Like, I'm better than so-and-so when you're clearly not. This is the type of stuff they need to be talking about. They need to be talking about holding each other accountable for their league, so that way their league can continue on. Because like you said, it's only going to hurt them in the long run. So I think it's good that he stood up and said something. He probably do feel a type of way about James because he got his dad fired. I feel some type of way too, talking about him all the time too. But yeah, I don't like it either. I definitely don't like the Dame situation, but what do they call it? Player empowerment. I guess that's what this is. But yeah, I mean, I think we have seen the end of the no trade clauses as we should, because if I just feel like if you agree to something, you should be held contractually to complete that. That's just my thoughts when it comes down to it. Like they said, if you're a free agent, your contract's over, and you can choose where you want to go, that's cool. That to me, you should put a lot more onus on the players to like, okay, you need to really sit down and think what you want your career to be, where you want your career to be before you just start signing contracts all willy nilly because you want the money. So, kudos to Austin for saying something. Hopefully, they talk more about this type of stuff on podcast.
Yeah, I call player empowerment. I call player entitlement. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, man, I agree with Austin Rivers, man. Like, I'm not a fan of the situation. Dame looking kind of funny in the light because he done spent the past 7 years talking about some running from the grind and all that other stuff, and now look at you running from the grind, like, dog. And I forgot who said it. I think it was Paul George. He was like, he spent all this Dame been saying all this running from the grind stuff, but now the only team you want to go to is the team that was just in the finals. Like,
I think
yeah, bro.
Though, but he right though.
You you looking kind of funny right now, bro. And then I get it. The situation hasn't been the best. Portland been dealing with injuries, all that. But they haven't been dealing with injuries the whole time. Like Wilson pointed out, you're Dame Lillard, dog, and like I mess with Dame a lot, but you shouldn't be in a position to move how LeBron move. That's just facts. Like your results are not LeBron results. You're not as good as LeBron. Like, so you act your skill. Like people say, act your age, act your wage, all that. You need to behave as to the caliber of player you are. Like dog, you should be thankful that Portland gave you the money they gave you, because you should have just been like, all right, cool, and suck it up and stay there. To be perfectly honest, man, like you be loved in the city, that's your franchise. You getting goo gobs of money, and you gonna go somewhere else, and you probably still not gonna win a ring. So then what? So, and you better be ready for when they on your ass. Don't be on social media being sensitive. The game is the game, bro. You better win a ring, or they gonna eat you up, and you gonna deserve it. It is what it is, dog. When you like, the more egregious your moves are, the more you gotta perform. Because the only thing that cures it is winning. That's it. If you don't win, they on your ass, and it is what it is, dog. It happens to everybody. So, but yeah, man, like it's definitely not bad for the league. I mean, it is definitely bad for the league. I like the point Wilson made. The top 1% gets to act crazy, and the trickle down effect. It just makes it bad for the people you call yourself, your comrades. Like, Knucklehead is one of my favorite basketball podcasts. It might be my favorite. And the thing I like about it is, Quentin and Darius Miles, they talk about how much of a brotherhood the NBA is. And, when you acting like this, you're not thinking about them guys that are not getting $60 million, and I mean, it's not your responsibility, but it's selfish because you know what they go through. 82 games is a lot, man. Those guys go through a lot to be professionals, and you're making moves that solely benefit you while also putting those guys in a pinch, because the owner is going to take it out on them, because when you're at a certain point, I mean, you pretty much Teflon for the most part. But those middle of the road guys, they feel the pinch. And you're not going to feel it because you're making $60 million a year. And you get to go to Miami, live on the beach. You know what I'm saying? And that's Jimmy's team. He gonna be the one out front, answering the questions and taking all the hits if y'all don't win. So, I mean, it's sucker moves, to be honest. As far as I'm concerned, like just like James Harden, every time something don't go his way, he put his fat suit on and force his way to another city, and he don't produce, and it's just the same thing over and over again. And then people call him a top 5 shooting guard all the time. Like, well, what's the incentive to change, man? Like, you getting crazy contracts, get to go to whatever team you want, and still get praise. Like, so, you know, it's just the culture that surrounds basketball in general now. It sucks. You know, hopefully it'll change. Like, man, sometimes I'll be like, man, them owners back in the day was right. Dog, sign this 9-year, $9 million deal. Like, dog, what are we doing here?
Not the Pippen deal. Said it was fun.
Like, come on, man. Like, dog, and look at the basketball that produced, because they know they had to earn every single penny.
Exactly.
Dog, hate to say it, I'd rather that extreme than this one.
Look,
say what you want.
Can't let the inmates run the asylum, man. And that's what's
At all.
What's happened. They abuse it. And this coming from a format, I know they're gonna be. If you give most athletes an inch, they're gonna take them out, bro. It's just seen it happen. Like, can't tell you how many times in practice, touching the line, start behind the line. These motherfuckers don't touch the line, we running more. Simple instructions. So imagine you put M's in the mix of that. But this is the player entitlement. It's player entitlement, but a big part of entitlement is selfishness. Mm-hmm. You only looking at what benefits you. And see, what's going to happen is it's going to make it impossible to win, because I know for a fact it's a lot of stars. I won't say no names. It's a lot of stars that get by on their talent, but they don't work as hard. It's hard for me to respect you if you're making all 9 figures, $200, $300 million. You don't work as hard, and you take time off and shit like that. But if we lose, they're saying we some shit. And I'm like, hold on, this is a $300 million man. He's supposed to make up the difference. What y'all looking at me for? I'm just a role player. I'm just a 3D guy. I hit a couple threes and I play defense. How is this all on us? You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous, and the players know that, and they know that. So it's gonna make it hard to win, because see, some of these role players gonna start getting at the stars like, homie, you ain't that dude. I'll smack the shit, like I will beat you in this joint, dog. And then it's gonna look bad. You see what I'm saying? And it's gonna come to that, man. Like you creating a bad rep. And honestly, this may be a plan by the owners to allow this to happen. Let this shit implode. So we can like, y'all not work. This is exactly why we do the things we do. And we gonna reel this joint back in. Because y'all not built for it. See, it's only a certain amount of players that should be getting. We're going to see about Jaylen Brown. He got it, is what it is. We're going to see. See if he elevates his game. But we all know, as of right now, for real, it's only like 5 players. I'm like, hey, you take the 300 and I'm good. I mean, I wouldn't even give it to LeBron for just because of his age, because I know he ain't going to be around that long. But if he was in his prime, of course. You know, the KDs, the Jokers, the Giannis, Steph Curry. After that, they get kind of iffy. I'm like, hold on. We got to have a discussion.
Kind of.
Everybody in here, dog. We got to have a discussion. Bring the whole organization in here. Y'all really want to do this? You see what I'm saying? It's like, nah, bro. Because see, with me, I'm no nonsense as is. I ain't even got to pay you. If you on my team, I'm no nonsense. 300 M's, my man. I need GOAT. I need Jordan stuff. Nothing short. Matter of fact, I need GOAT Wilts. I need Jordan Wilt numbers. I need Jordan Wilt impact. I need that. And if you can't give me that, why are we talking about 300 M's? So I'm looking at Dame, and I'm like, come on, Dame. Like, they roll with you. They roll with you through some dark times. If you really as loyal as you say to y'all, why are you forcing their hand in this? You know Miami's limited. Matter of fact, they lost pieces from the trade, like Stroot, all them gone.
Yeah,
so they were a trade bait. 2 moves. anymore. So the only thing they can do is like, yo, we gotta take like first round picks until like 2050 or something like that. But the thing is, when teams do that, typically that front office, that staff, they ain't around to see none of that. You see what I'm saying? They get fired because the team is gonna be young and not good for a long time. You see what I'm saying? So why are you gonna handicap the team? Look at Houston. Look what James did to Houston. Matter of fact, the worst case scenario of all that's kind of got swept under the rug because they made a little late season push. The Brooklyn Nets. Look what KD, Kyrie, and James Harden did to them. Look what they did to that team. Like, y'all are messing this joint up so bad for the future generation unless you are an elite type guy. You're messing this thing up so bad, man. And it's like y'all just being selfish on drinking y'all cool. Like it's sickening. And the thing is, we're in the arena watching y'all all from November to April. And I'm just saying April because most of these motherfuckers don't even make it to the playoffs, even with the play-in. Y'all not that good, bro. Y'all just not even that good to be carrying it like this. Y'all not. Because if y'all were, like I said, y'all would be in that 5 people person conversation I just mentioned. Y'all would be in that mix. Think about it, bro. Let's be real. We can't even say right now that an American-born player is the best player in the league. Right now, you got to say, and I forgot, you got to put Luka in that mix too. You know, when he on point two, you got to put Luka in that mix too. I mean, damn, the top 2 players in the game are international players.
Yep.
Hands down, they ain't even close. And these motherfuckers that came, they done battled their way up from the bottom, elevated small market teams, and got rings over these dudes who are entitled, destroying franchises, moving to another franchise, destroying that franchise, and moving to another every time they don't get their way. And they did it. They're making us look bad, bro. Like they are. Like it's bad. And then the thing is, they're low maintenance. They just like, man, give me a couple beers after we win. I'm celebrating. All right, I'm back in the lab. Do this again. But you see our players, they coming in shades, all Hollywood, more worried about their fit. You just see the bullshit, man. It's just you see it, man. You see it, dog. I'm injured, but when I'm on the bench, I could jump around and like, bro, my ankle hurt. I'm not jumping around, dog. Like, what's going on? I see you jumping. That means you can hop up and shoot a jumper then. Flash your feet. So now you lying. Like other people don't see that. Come on, bro. Like it's bad, man. It's bad. And it's sad because I thought Dame was one of them ones like a Reggie Miller. Like I'm down to ride. Like, and now you're right. You just looking funny. And then the thing is with that, he's not only. It's not the front office he's holding hostage. He's holding the team hostage because them dudes working out. Think about it. I'm working out to play a specific role. I gotta play with Dame, but if Dame ain't gonna be here, this might be my chance to expand my role, show what I can really.
Exactly.
And I can't even do that. I'm stuck in limbo. The coaching staff stuck in limbo. So now they gotta devise 2 strategies in case this dude come back. In case it's like, and then it gets to a point, and it's just man stuff. Yo, just go away, bro. We good. Just go, bro. I'm tired of dealing with it. And that's where we are with it. It's just, and I felt this was gonna happen a few years back. I'm like, man, they're gonna mess it up. They're gonna really make shit harder than what it has to be. And only elite will be taken care of, whereas before everybody could kind of eat. Now it's just gonna be the top guys. And I don't think they care, man. I don't know, man. It's getting bad because now you're gonna see a lot of owners fine. They may get their money, but they won't have any power. Like they won't have power, just like you just getting a check. And then you got, like I said, if they're getting that type of money, the owner's pocketbook, their bank account's getting bigger too. Oh, we're just moving. Look, we're good. Like, and then with that being said, you're going to get killed because when you're playing for $200-300 million, and the owners like, yo, we just want you to go away, the fan base is going to kill you. Your life will be hell. That money can't save you from that. So, I'm disappointed now. Because it's not really much you can say about the franchise. They ain't support me. Nah, bro. They roll with you, dog. They roll with you. They paid you. That's the trade-off. You play, we pay.
Yeah.
And I think they take that for granted because I'm like, all right, there's a lot of people that will take that bread. Including I'll take the bread. See what I'm saying? So, man, we're going to see how I play out, man. But the way he moving, I'm like, why would Pat Riley? Why? And the fact that Pat Riley ain't jumping overboard, just here, take it all for you, that kind of speaks volumes, dog. Because you ain't been healthy. You're 34, 35 now. I'm just keeping it a bean. Like, what are we doing?
What makes it worse too is his agent also coming out talking about some, if nobody else, like if anybody else like gets into the running, like you're gonna have a disgruntled player on your hands. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, y'all gotta be even worse. Like that really disappointed me too, because it's like, again, we just talked about people don't have no trade clauses. So yeah, if they end up sending you somewhere else, so you gonna pout wherever else you go. That's basically what he said. I was like,
but see, he won't be able to get away with that in most cities. Because see, he could do that in Portland. You're gonna hear in the other cities, they're gonna like, man, fuck you too. You see what I'm saying? Especially if they giving up big pieces for you, that means you got a hoop. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna really be safe in a sense like that, man. It's just come on, man. Like, these players gotta meet these people, meet these owners happy. I get it's some shitty owners, but it's some shitty players too. And part of being a professional is doing your job, doing your thing. And then you wonder why when y'all ass retire, hey man, you gotta get a coaching job. Nope. You can't even get a coaching job, a player development job, because they don't want you around because you was a jackass. Then you on podcasts talking trash and stuff like that to try to get a check. And that gets corny after a while. So it's just sad, man. But we're gonna see how I play out, man. But these dudes gotta start manning up and taking responsibility for their side of things and holding up their end of the bargain. Because far too many of them not. They living off of hype in a sense, man. And none of them are really matching it like that.
Yeah, like I think one of the points you made, I was gonna add was, you think Pat Riley wouldn't have made this thing happen again if you were one of the guys in that group we were talking about? That trade would have been done. Pat's moved things for things that have worked it.
I don't think Pat a fan of dudes that move like this, dog. He like dogs. He like,
well, that too. I'm sure he soured off of
other dudes,
that
man.
experience.
Like, he like other dudes. All the stories I done heard about him, man. Like, bro, I got your contract in the briefcase upstairs. You can go. Get it to him. And score him out. We good. I mean, he told D Wade, no. That's D Wade, bro. The greatest player in that franchise history. He said, nah, bro. So we should, come on, man. These dudes are delusional.
Hey, man. Interesting to see how it goes, but if I was Portland, man, hand the keys to them kids and go on with your life. It's what it is. I want to thank y'all for tuning in this week, man. We truly appreciate it. Don't forget, you can watch Focus TV every Wednesday morning as early as 9 a.m. on our Roku channel. If you got a Roku television or device, all you got to do is type in the Focus TV in the search box, double tap OK on the remote. You added our channel. For local residents without Roku, Fridays at 10 p.m., Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Show airs on your DC TV. You can just check your local listings for it, or you can go to dctv.org. There's three channels on there. Check the program, and you can watch just that way. Don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com for all the Outlook people and whatnot. We'll see y'all later this week at various different times. Appreciate y'all. See y'all soon.